What's up and welcome to Lunchtime in the Lab. Bit of a bit of a rough late start. So you have to give me just a second to pull my things up that I need here while people are trickling in. Man, the Jort household's a little wild right now. Wife's just doing some training, so she's a little busier, and my son's being crazy, and it's super warm outside. And when the doors are open, my dog freaks out because like um the what the hell are they called? Like the curtains make a noise, so he's like losing his freaking mind because of it. It's ridiculous. You know how dogs can be though. What's up though, guys? Let me pull up the recording thing I use so I can record this podcast, and we're gonna get cracking. Normally we're already off to the races here. I do have 3 plays though. I think I really like. So live on let me go ahead and start here. Live on Twitter, live on YouTube as well. If you are watching this on Twitter, go ahead and you guys can comment in there. I can't see it if you comment underneath it. You have to comment while you're in the video. I'll be able to respond to that. And then for YouTube, I can respond at the same time to this program I'm using. So it's pretty cool, pretty slick. We'll get started here though. Here we go. What's up and welcome to Lunchtime in the Lab, your number one gambling podcast for quick picks. Live on YouTube, also live on Twitter. Try to go live on Twitter on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Guess what? Those both start with a T. There is no letter, day that starts with an X. I refuse to call Twitter X, but I try to do my best to accommodate with some of the new stuff here. But if you are watching on Twitter, do me a favor, come over and subscribe to me on YouTube, because you're only going to get this 2 days a week. You can get it every single day if you are subscribed to me on YouTube. Or obviously you don't have to subscribe, but just come in and like. But obviously, it helps me out. Hit the subscribe. I love to see that number go up. It's a bit of an addiction. I like to see it. So today is Tuesday, 2/27. Before we get into today's plays, we'll take a look back and see what we did yesterday. I posted a play, and apparently the odds changed already. So, wrong thing here. All right. So yesterday we had another 2-in-1 day. So not too bad. I will certainly take the 2-in-1 days. We're searching for the 3-0s, but a 2-in-1 day is a positive day, and you have to accept that, obviously every single day. We had Pascal Siakam over 21.5 points. I believe that was an early third quarter cash. If not, he had hit it right away in the fourth quarter. I don't know if he had came back in or not. He had 21 points in the third quarter, and I kind of stopped paying attention to it because I knew it was going to hit. Halliburton, though, I tell you what, guys, this guy is – I hate to be a punk and say like somebody's banned, but I think from like my personal bets, the dude's just like he's toast. He can't touch another bet. And I even joked about it yesterday. The last time that I bet on him was when he had that 5-point game, like 6 or 7 games ago. And guess what? Like he was pretty damn close to having a 5-point game again, or I think he had 4 points. I knew he was going to have a hard time scoring. I mean, we talked about that. We talked about the aggressiveness that they played and everything like that, but the play was for him to pass the ball. I did not expect him to score. I mean, he had 7 assists. That's by no means necessarily bad. But in terms of him, though, man, it really took away a nice little play we had going. And then Keegan Murray, boy, was that a slam dunk. 13.5-point line. The guy finished it. I think it was 28, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if anybody knows the top of your head. I didn't write it down. But I know he doubled his line, if not more than doubled his line. So we killed both of those bets for sure. So that was pretty nice there. Pretty nice to get that, get that win there. So, but we'll get into it. We'll hop into it here. We'll get into the first play here. If this is your first time around, I try to do my best to have some kind of graph or graphics so you're not looking at me like in the big screen. I kind of just see what I'm looking at. I use Outlier for the most part, but sometimes I'll have, I haven't done it yet, but I use a lot of StatMuse, and like there's some other like free programs. Like I really like Pine Sports as well. We'll get into it though. On the graph here, he's over this in 7 of his last 10 games. On the year, the Mavs are giving up the 5th most points to centers and the 5th most points to power forwards. Obviously, like he's one of those kind of a little more difficult players where like he can do both. He can play in a center role, he can play in a power forward. But obviously, when Jarrett Allen is in, he's definitely the power forward. Like the numbers don't necessarily matter though. It's 5 and 5, and then actually on rebounds, it's 6 and 6. So the Mavs give up the 5th most points, the 6th most rebounds to position. No matter what position you call him, they give up the 5 and the 6. Really, the main reason though that I like this play is going to be the matchup. With the assumption that PJ Washington is going to be guarding Mobley in this one. PJ, isn't really known for his defense, and I think that's certainly a weak spot that the Mavs now have. If they brought him over from the Hornets, he's a bit of a defensive liability in that position, and my main reason for wanting to get after it, to be honest. In his last 3 games against PJ Washington, he's had 26 points, 6 rebounds, 18 points, 19 rebounds, 21 points, and 18 rebounds. So as in that quick math, that's 32, 37, and 39 with PJ on him. Obviously, hey, like PJ might not guard him. Like that's whatever. Who knows how, things are going to go. But he's off of his minutes restriction. The guy, and it's hard to figure out if it's going to be Mobley, is it going to be Allen that's going to be, tearing it up, and it kind of goes back and forth, But today we're going to be with Mobley, based off of his form, right? Recently, he's been playing pretty good, and you just have that matchup with the assumption that PJ Washington is going to be on him. He should cook the matchup. So we'll roll with it. Over 23.5 points plus rebound for the first play here. Second play here, I don't really have like much of a write up for this one or anything. It's just following the dang trend. I have bet on Kobe White rebounds and assists so many times. It seems crazy, at this point. Without this graph here that I have pulled up, without Zach LaVine, and when the Bulls win, he's over this in 17 straight games this year, 17 for 17. The Bulls are like a minus 11 point spread, if I'm not mistaken. They're playing the Pistons, who I think are on a back-to-back. And if you look at it without those stipulations, if it's just without LaVine on the floor, LaVine, and whether or not, they win or lose, doesn't matter. He's still over there in 8 out of his last 10. Of course, like the last game, we had that crazy, like, they gave the board to Alex Caruso, and then they changed it at the end because he didn't really like possess it and kind of like was falling out of bounds. And Kobe kind of grabbed it, and that was the end of the game. So we definitely got lucky last time. So, the trend's going to run out at some point, but it's very hard to overlook. And then some people will say like, hey, like he's due to miss. And there's multiple plays. There's multiple ways to look at it. But 10 games ago, somebody could have said like he's due to miss. And, when he had that stretch right there in the middle, he had 10, 10, 10. It's like, oh, he can't keep this up. And then, he popped off, for whatever. I can't quite read that. I think it's like 14 and 16 or something like that. But yeah, we're going to run him over 9.5. Not a whole lot to say. A bit of a shorter podcast for this one too today, guys, I think too. I mean, I'm at about 9 minutes now, but like I said, my wife's trying to do some training, and it's like 70 degrees or something, it was like 58 when I woke up at 9. So there's some like storm that's supposed to hail or like tornado or something like that. But I'm going to try to get my boy out to ride a bike at least, maybe go for a run or something like that. But the last play then, DeJounte Murray over 8.5 assists. I will say too, like this line is moving absolutely all over the place. It was at, 8.5 last night. I see people grabbed it at like minus in the 128 range or something like that. It's bounced up to 9.5. It's at 8.5 and 9.5 back and forth. So I don't really care what the number's at because I think he's due for a double-double. So whatever you grab him at, I think that's cool. What I ended up doing, I actually gave this one out in the Discord a while ago. I threw like one of the big money lines in with it, which sometimes can be a bit of a no-no. It messes up a little bit of like your liability or whatever. It's no longer just a straight. So in terms of tracking, like I'm not really positive how I'm going to do this one, but what I ended up doing though is I threw DeJounte Murray over 8.5 with the Celtics money line, and it came out to like minus 110, which is just where like a normal straight would be. That's not juiced real heavily. Obviously, it's juiced heavily because it's going from 8.5 to like 9.5, and like people must be coming in on the under on the 9.5. It's making the books like move it all over the place. That was on FanDuel, and DraftKings has been sitting at 8.5 pretty steadily. So however you want to run it, if you're cool with running a minus, 138, minus 140, whatever is straight, certainly do that. But he's over this in 4 out of 6 games without Trae Young. It's definitely a main play here to attack. And do I have any college baseball picks coming up in the Discord? There is actually a ton of college baseball on today on a Tuesday, which seems weird. But yeah, I've already, like, when I woke up, I kind of had ideas, and I've like been doing all this and like the hecticness of the day. But I think the first games don't start for another 2 hours, so we should have plenty of time to get in on something. Let's see here. So there's a lot of spots where like betting on the NBA is almost like betting on the injury report and stuff too. There's some spots where you just have to attack. For example, like when LeBron is out, you take D'Angelo Russell's assists. I mean, the dude smokes it. We were on him when he had that double double. You take. I didn't have it on the podcast here. It was a Discord play, VIP play, but Butler, when Butler's not in, bam, rebounds and assists, monster games. I mean, they can't set the line high enough. He had 17, yesterday. He had a triple double, I think, the last time out when Butler didn't play. So when Butler's hurt, injured, not playing, suspended, whatever it's going to be, you take Bam. When Trae Young's not playing, you take DeJounte Murray. Like he has a great game without Young, and obviously Young's hurt. He had that fucking dogs barking, dude. I swear, like there's always something going on. He has a good game. I'm like way thrown off with today. Anyway, we attacked the Jazz with D'Lo. I mean, LeBron was out, but he had 17 assists against them. We were on Steph Curry when he had his double-double. Maybe I don't remember from the Discord or if on this or not we were, but I hit his double-double. Anyway, like it's point guards versus the Jazz. I mean, you take them with the assists. Jazz give out the most assists to point guards in the league, and they do a really good job of stopping them from scoring. I mean, that's the perfect combination. You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately, just like with Halliburton yesterday, he was in a spot where I didn't think he was going to score much. He should pass a lot. Unfortunately, he didn't do a lot of anything, but I don't think that's the case really with Murray here. I almost went with John Collins points plus rebounds because the Hawks really don't have, Capella is injured and they don't really have a really true center like backup. Kongwu is, out too. So, and Capella's on that minute restriction type thing, but Murray to get, more than 9 assists, 9 or 10 assists, depending on where you decide to take it. If you feel okay taking him at 8.5 and running in, the Celtics money line, like I said, who's the best home team in the nation, I feel pretty comfortable doing that. If you want to take him at 9.5 when it hits, back up to plus money at like plus 105, it was sitting. I mean, certainly do that. That's obviously up to you. You guys ultimately have to hit the button, fade me at all, by all means, if that's what you think you want to do or whatever, So to wrap it up here on the podcast, though, February 27th on a beautiful Tuesday, at least where I'm at in the Midwest, we're going to run with Evan Mobley over 23.5 points plus rebounds, Kobe White over 9.5 rebounds and assists, and DeJounte Murray over 8.5 assists, 9.5, whatever combination you kind of decide to do. If you are watching this on YouTube, thanks so much for hanging out. If you're watching this on a recorded version, I appreciate you just as much. Drop a comment. Let me know. If you are watching it on Twitter, either live or you come by it and you're like, hey, what was this? And you made it this far, come on over. If you like the show, if you think we're going to hit or anything like that, come on over to the YouTube. It's, Lunchtime, youtube.com/lunchtime in the lab. Search Lunchtime in the lab at Lunchtime in the lab, whatever. Pretty easy to find. I've got links all over the place in the bottom of the description. On YouTube, obviously you're already there, but in my, my bio on Twitter, whatever. All kinds of places to find it. If you like it, come on over, check it out on YouTube. But I'm your host, as always. Lunchtime in the lab will be brought to you every day, roughly 11:30. I was a couple minutes late today. Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to follow me on all social medias at Live Joe Betts. I'm going to get out of here, get this household under control, and I will see you guys back tomorrow.